They wanted his services, his goods.
The police officer that arrests a steroids dealer is going to be like more like double reparty. 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep. Another banging episode coming your way.
Always another banging episode.
Oh yeah, banging episode.
You look like you have a bunk bed behind you. Is that a bunk bed?
Oh, the loft thing up here?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, that's not a bunk bed. I moved to a different location in Panama. I feel like I'm running from the U.S. government. I'm at another location in Panama, undisclosed. I'm at a farm. Pablo Escobar style.
I saw I saw some pictures though. It looks like you're in a nice place. It's got a little infinity pool. You're living it up, man.
The American dollar goes too far in Panama. Sometimes I feel guilty where I'm like, if this is all you want to live here, okay, I'll throw in a tip, I guess, for my rent. But I'm at another farm in Panama. If you've been listening to the podcast for at least a few months now, you knew that I was in Panama starting, what was it, like 2 months ago? So I'm at a farm in this place called Pedasi, which is close to the beach. I'm surrounded by animals. I have a pig that I say hello to every morning. There's currently a cat taking a nap on the chair that's supposed to be my meditation chair, but she takes the chair. I have horses. I'm by the way, I'm saying I have horses. It's the guy who owns the farm does the work to keep,
they're not your horses, but
I haven't
you get the luxury of looking at them.
The guy wasn't like, well, you're gonna rent this place, so do you want a couple horses too? He
do you want these?
I've been looking to get rid of these horses. He keeps them alive. He keeps everyone alive. There's a whole ecosystem here. Some chickens too, a couple dogs.
Do they look healthy? Do all the animals look healthy?
The plumpest hens I've seen in Panama. The pig.
Okay.
It has its own personalized mud pool underneath a tree that the guy planted to give the pig shade. So the pig has its own jungle in the middle of its pig pen.
Yes.
The horses have the farm goes like hundreds of acres. It's a gigantic place.
Wow.
So I'm living it up here.
Yeah. I guess I'm not as familiar with just like the Panamanian government. And the reason I asked, and I guess it makes sense that they're fine there, but when I went to Jamaica, which I love Jamaica so much, but it was a little bit shocking to me seeing like horses in Jamaica because they were unlike any horse that I have seen in America. They were just very, to me, malnourished. And it was just a bit shocking, I felt. So that's why I was curious. Like if you were like just looking out at these malnourished horses.
No, that would be way more depressing. I experienced that when I was in Cuba when there were malnourished dogs everywhere. In Panama, though, people are really good about putting food out because you'll see all the shops and you'll see houses where they don't actually own an animal, but they'll just leave food out. And so all the dogs walk around the neighborhood. I would say like 80% of them look very healthy. And here, all the animals are, the guy's farm animals or someone else's animals. So yeah, I feel like Pablo Escobar for, $800 a month, just looking out into this vast Panamanian mountain landscape. So it's a good deal. Great
good for you. Yeah, good for you. I'm glad you're having the time of your life. I am here in New York City still, surrounded by pollution.
Yeah.
Starving humans.
Yeah, you're looking
rats.
out. You're like, the guy looks pretty malnourished.
Yeah, no malnourished horses, just people. But yeah, speaking of being nourished, we wanted to kind of chat about the last episode. We talked about a man who had auto brewery syndrome. If you don't know what that is, I implore you to go back and listen to that episode.
Your stomach basically becomes a brewery and makes alcohol inside your body, and that gets you a certain level of drunk pretty much all the time.
Yeah. And so I already knew that your gut is so important to your overall health, and especially just like basic things like what you eat and what you drink. Even if you ate and drank it hours ago, it is going to smell on your breath because your gut is so, it's just, I just got distracted because I just got like a notification from Riverside. We'll cut
Riverside's trying to take us down.
Yeah, it doesn't actually matter anyways. It says we're still recording, but I'm also, like I said, I'm recording on Adobe right now, so it doesn't actually matter. Yes. Anyways. But yeah, so your gut is super important. And then the day after we recorded that episode, I went and watched on Netflix a documentary. It just happened to be on there. And it's called, what is it called? It's a gut health documentary. So Hack Your Health, The Secrets of Your Gut. Yes. And it featured maybe like 5 different people and their particular issues with their gut and just eating in general. And one of them, I mean, basic stuff, like one of them suffered anorexia. So she struggles with like certain foods. Somebody else just gets sick all the time with like everything they eat. So she quite literally can only eat like 3 ingredients. Damn. Like she's living the most miserable life. It's just salmon, potato, and like asparagus.
Well, I mean, at least that makes a meal because those go pretty well together.
But every single day for all I know, but like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah,
but what if it was like peanut butter, hot sauce, and corn kernels? She'd be like, well, I guess I can you know, make some dog food with that. But yeah, it could have been worse. Yeah, that does seem pretty depressing to have to eat the same thing every day.
Yeah. There was somebody else that just struggles to lose weight, where basically they lose weight and then they gain more weight, and then they lose weight and then they gain even more weight. And there was another guy, which was the most interesting to me because he was a competitive eater and he no longer feels hunger.
Okay.
So but that's actually really scary when you think about it, because he was like, oh, I actually like haven't eaten in 3 days. Like people can literally starve to death because they don't get a little register in their brain from their gut telling them that they're hungry and that they need to eat. So
he was so good at competitive eating that he ate away the signal in his body that tells him to eat. He's like, I'm going to go so far.
Yes.
I'm not even going to feel hunger anymore. That's crazy.
Yes. And that is like actually what happened. So the whole documentary was just really interesting. Zach and I were talking before we hit record about these new prebiotic, probiotic sodas that are out there, which I don't remember. One feeds the little, the little fungi in your stomach, and the other like replenishes them. I'm not quite sure which one. My prebiotics and probiotics.
Yeah, if I see the word biotic, I just assume it's not terrible for me, and then I'll buy it. But that's all. That's the only thing I know about biotics. Is I see it, and as like a brainwashed American consumer, I'm like, oh, that one. I'm gonna choose that yogurt. It says biotics on it.
Yes. Yes. So the whole point in the documentary was basically to understand our gut microbiome and just the bacteria and the fungi, which throws back to the auto brewery syndrome and just the viruses, everything that kind of lives inside of our stomach is influencing what we eat. Like when you think about it, Zach, when you crave chocolate all of a sudden and then you just eat a lot of chocolate, that isn't your brain just being like, oh, I want chocolate. That's like the little creatures inside of your gut craving chocolate to the point that it's like sending a message to your brain to then eat it. So it was fascinating because then it was saying we basically can now do these tests where they can figure out your specific gut microbiome and then tell you exactly like how your diet should be in order to be like living the best life or healthiest solution for you, whatever it may be.
So what if you had, because this makes me think, if you were dealt a shitty biological card and your gut microbiome, the little creatures in your stomach, are just like, feed me McDonald's, like give me.
Hell yeah, that's me.
Can you change it? Like, can you do things to make you want to eat spinach? Because like I have never really craved vegetables, but I'll eat them if they have things I like on it. So like I'm wondering if I could get to the point where I could actually enjoy healthy, like very healthy food.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's possible. Yes. I think it's like genuinely training. It's equivalent to like going to the gym and training. You need to like train your mind.
Yeah. train your gut microbiome.
Train your gut microbiome to want spinach. So it's almost like a dog, like the what is that called? Pavlov response. Yeah. It's like that. It's like you need to experience joy while eating spinach.
That's just giving me the image of a personal just some fucking like 6'3" ripped to shreds dude, and puts a McDonald's cheeseburger in front of me, and I take a bite, and he's like, "Do you still like that, pussy? You still like that, or do you want the spinach?" And I'm like, "I still want the burger. I still want the burger. Make it stop."
Yeah. I feel similarly, because when they said that, I started thinking, and I was like, oh my God, that's so true, because I think I'm kind of a binge eater of specific snacks. I will go so hard on chocolate for like a couple weeks, and then I'll go without it. And same with fast food. I'll really want McDonald's, and if I eat it, then it just triggers this cycle further of wanting it again. Yeah. But I haven't had it for like a month or so now, and I'm really not thinking about it.
Isn't it because, and I don't know if they go into this in the documentary, which you should definitely watch and not take my word for it, because this is probably coming from a New York Post headline I read 4 months ago, but I thought I read something saying that the reason why we crave food that's shit for us today is because obviously we evolved as hunter-gatherers, and sugar was so sparse. If you found a really dense sugary berry, that was such a rare thing to see in the environment. So your body was like, I'm going to eat all of these in one sitting, because I'm not going to see this again for 4 months. And then we're going to move to...
I'd be the worst gatherer.
Yeah. And so now we evolved. To basically... every time sugar is within 10 yards of us, we're like, I need to put as much as I can in my mouth, because I'm not going to see this for the longest time. But sugar's everywhere now. Obviously it's not a rare thing to see.
Yes. No, America and the food that we're offered is so fucked up. Like there's actually, even when you want to be healthy, it's so hard to be healthy here in America.
Yeah.
Because everything is pumped with sugars and just like excess calories and processed stuff that we don't want to eat.
And it's so accessible. Like if I wanted to get McDonald's here, I'd have to hop in the car, drive through some backwoods dirt roads to get back to the main road, go to McDonald's, get home, and still want to eat it if I haven't already eaten it in the car. And by that time it's cold, and I'm like, maybe I'll just eat something else. But in my apartment in Brooklyn and where you are in New York, you probably have like 14 different fast food options around here.
Yeah, seriously. It's super fucked up. But I really encourage everybody to like actually try and watch what you eat. Like, I don't know. I shouldn't be giving advice, but it's more of just like, I think so many people in America are conscious of wanting to eat healthy. But then you go to the store and you see packaging that looks healthy. You're thinking, oh, great. Or it says something on there that's like, oh, gluten-free. But then you look at it and it's like pumped with other stuff. That's just like, it's really hard. So I try personally. I mean, Demi's a vegetarian, so that does make things kind of easier for us. And we're bougie, so we shop at Whole Foods. But that's really just because they have the best vegetarian options. But I only feel good when I know that I've eaten vegetables and fruits and like whole foods. not Whole Foods, the store, like whole ingredient foods.
That's how far we've gone off the cliff as society, is that we're like, yeah, I feel good when I eat things that are good for me. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, I feel the same way. I'll have a really good meal and I'm like, this is amazing. Why don't I do this every single meal? And then I'll go to the supermarket and I'll tell my girlfriend and be like, babe, this cheesecake says organic. Like, we can eat as much as we want. And she's like, that's not what that means. You can't just eat everything that says that. So I'm like, yeah, it is difficult. Yeah. It's I guess that's one of the things that I like about Panama, is that a lot of decisions are kind of made for you with the food that's available and what you can feasibly drive to. Whereas I open the app on my fucking couch in Brooklyn and I have 72 different options of terrible, and I have 4 options of good. And it's like, it takes so much willpower to choose the good over the evil.
Yeah.
I sound like Batman.
And I'm so guilty of, as soon as my girlfriend goes away for a weekend, I lose control, Zach. Like, I cannot be stopped. As soon as she's gone, I'm like, oh, I've suddenly forgotten how to prepare a meal for myself. And I'll just go crazy with ordering like a Domino's pizza, and I'll eat the whole fucking pizza too, because I'm insane. And that is also why the food is so bad, though, because a whole pizza, I shouldn't be able to eat a whole pizza, but it's not even real ingredients. It's not even real bread. So I'm just like shoving it in my face and eating the whole thing.
Yeah, that'd be a hilarious quote to see on someone's gravestone that died of food related illness or like obesity or something. Is like, I shouldn't be able to eat a whole pizza. Mary Osborne, September 7th, 19. And it's like, we shouldn't, but I agree. Yeah, it's so fucking good. Well, speaking of all the shit in food, and there's a lot of drugs and like different ingredients and you know, things that are bad for you, just drugs in general. The NYPD union sued the mayor's administration over a new zero tolerance policy on officer steroid use. So basically, cops want to do steroids. Cops want to be able to do drugs. And the NYPD union was like, no, we're not going to pass that. We're going to have a zero tolerance law. So New York's largest cop union is suing Police Commissioner Edward Cabin and Mayor Eric Adams for implementing a new zero-tolerance policy on NYPD officers using steroids or other performance-enhancing drugs, the Daily News has learned. In a lawsuit filed in Manhattan Supreme Court on Friday, lawyers for the Police Benevolent Association alleged that previously undisclosed policy files in the face of a legal agreement the union entered into the city in 2011. The 2011 contract prohibited officers from ingesting or possessing any anabolic steroids or other forms of human growth hormones without a medical prescription. However, the old standard didn't require officers to run any such prescription by their NYPD district surgeon before they start to use it. So it sounds like before you could, you know, take some shit, you didn't need the prescription from a doctor, and now the NYPD is like, no, if you're going to take steroids, it has to be for some sort of medical issue, medical condition for you to take these on the force.
I mean, that seems fair, right?
I don't know. I have a different opinion.
You probably just shouldn't take steroids just for funsies.
I'm against this policy. I not only am I against I'm not only am I against the zero tolerance policy of cops not allowed to, you know, be able to take steroids. I think cops should be required to take steroids. Male and female cops. This is not a guy thing. Male and female. If there's someone breaking into my apartment, breaking into my house, and I'm calling a cop to show up in a squad car, I want to see 4 fucking goons get out of the fucking car, like ripped to shit. Yeah,
like gorillas
like,
with. But not the animal. I mean, gorillas with like New Jersey, the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, they knock on your door. They're like, "Hey, there's a problem here," and they're just fucking like They have no neck. That's how I want to see if I see my police officer's neck that's responding to a call, I'm like, no, send the dude, send the guy, send the girl that's on fucking roids. I want some performance enhancing justice in my house. Yeah. I don't want some bitch ass cop showing up.
I didn't know that. I didn't really even think about police officers taking steroids. All the ones I see around here don't look like they've been doing that. Okay. They look like they've been stopping at Dunkin' Donuts one too many times. I didn't even know that this could even be a discussion we were having.
Some of these cops on the subway and I pass by them and I'll think like if I was mugged right now more than 50 yards away from this guy, he has just like his gut alone is well over 120 pounds. He's probably pushing 320, 340. He's like 5'11". He's drinking a cup of coffee, has half a Subway sandwich in his hand, chicken parm. I'm like, if this dude is more than 50 yards away from me, I have zero chance at living because the criminal could just walk away normally and get away from him.
I mean, I think that would happen anyways, Zach, because usually I just see them playing like Candy Crush. Bing, bing, and bing, that's about it.
Yeah, they're playing with the wrong type of guns. The digital ones.
Yeah, no, seriously. Honestly, anything. I want to give them anything to make them be more alert to what the fuck is going on, because all the police here in New York that I see, they're genuinely, they go everywhere but where they should go. Anytime there's an issue, they're always like a day late and they're never on the platforms. I mean, I want that. If they can stop crime, I want them to stop crime the same way Edward Cullen stopped that car from smashing into Bella Swan in the first Twilight. That's what I want.
No, and I think that's exactly what we'll get if cops are on steroids. Because not only steroids don't make you bigger, faster, and stronger if you're putting the work in the gym and training along with the steroids, but you also want to show them off. Like, you don't just want to take steroids and sit in your room. You want to take steroids and stop a robbery in a fucking 7-Eleven. You want to subdue a crazy person on you want to help your citizens in need so that you can be like a policeman, policewoman / fitness influencer where you're like putting the criminal in handcuffs, but at the same time you're like flexing a tricep as you're locking in the handcuff. And you're getting like that photo for the New York Post the next day is just going to be like a fucking teardrop.
You see like the veins in the arms. I love that we started this podcast being like, be careful what you eat, everybody. Like, bad sugars are bad for you. Like, we don't want anybody being unhealthy. And then you're like,
also take massive.
If you have steroids, try them out.
Yeah, try them out. I think, look, if you get caught as a steroid dealer, even, you should get a lighter sentence if you were selling to cops. If you're a steroid dealer and you get busted, but you were selling to police officers, you should get a lighter sentence because you're helping them enforce the law. You're giving them more stamina.
I mean, if they weren't going to enforce the law to the steroid dealer while they were dealing steroids, then it's too late. It's like you can't get... What's it called when you can't get like trialed again for the same thing? Yeah, it's basically double jeopardy. It's like he had the chance. They had the chance to arrest him. And they didn't. They wanted his services, his goods.
The police officer that arrests a steroids dealer is going to be like more like double reparty, 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep, triple reparty, quadruple reparty. Yeah.
All the female police officers suddenly have mullets.
Yeah, light
spray tans,
light mustaches. They're just, their voices have all of a sudden gotten slightly deeper. They're beating dudes in arm wrestles on the force, and they're just like, I could get you some shit if you need it. You know, if you don't have to lose every time.
Yeah. Roided people don't look good to me. Like when I see bodybuilders, I mean, I know that alone is kind of it's like an eating disorder or some sort of mental illness in itself.
When you
to be a bodybuilder.
When you're
I feel.
getting to like the three, there are classic physiques that I think look really good, like the Schwarzenegger era, or even a lot of guys today.
Really? Like, I feel like Schwarzenegger is super famous, so we all kind of know what he looks like, and it's like, okay, but I wouldn't have called that a good look.
Desire to look like that because I just know from it,
okay
as
sure.
I'm unbuttoning my shirt, just popping my pecs. No, I don't want to look like that. I don't have 4 posters taped to my ceiling of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Chris Bumstead. Mm-hmm. But I know just from my research with sports and knowing guys who have done steroids or looking into the effects of steroids that it is a very risky thing to do, especially when you don't have guidance and you're not working with a team of doctors. When you're not a millionaire like Arnold Schwarzenegger and the guys in Mr. Olympia, you're just a guy in the gym that's randomly using his body as an experiment.
You need to know when to tone it down.
I don't.
So I feel like your heart can only tolerate so much, and so many bodybuilders like are dead by the time they're like 40.
Oh yeah, there's a ton. I think it's a balance where it is a sport, so you want to get as big and ripped as possible, but then there's also the body dysmorphia, mental illness side of it, where it's like, and when is enough enough? You have to still prioritize your long-term health as you're chasing the gold standard of physique for sure. But yeah, when it comes...
You could wipe out the police force this way, Zach. I mean, they could all end up like that and just get so juiced up and addicted that we just wipe them all out. We eradicate the police somehow.
They're on too much gear to the point where they're like catching up to the criminal, but then just dropping dead of a heart attack. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Too much Winstrol. Fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think that's possible. I'm trying to
I was going to say, just one thing off of the looking like you're on steroids or the ripped Mr. Olympia. I think 90 to 95% of the people that are taking steroids, you wouldn't think are on steroids. There are a lot of people in the gym.
They're getting crafty now.
That are just taking steroids and don't have the best genetics, or they're not putting in as much work in the gym. And you look at that guy and be like, oh, that looks like a guy or that looks like a gal that lifts, but you wouldn't think they're on steroids. I think there are a lot of people who are on the sauce that don't necessarily look like they are.
I believe that for sure. But if you looked at their balls, you'd probably know because they shrink.
That's what I've
heard.
Yeah, I've heard they get a little bit small.
You've heard.
I've not.
Yeah.
Not felt.
I'm just looking here. There's like so many harmful effects of steroids that the list is overwhelming, Zach.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously testicular shrinkage, low sperm count, lack of erections, and these are just around the groin. I mean, there's so much damage to the liver, the kidneys, all the other stuff.
Yeah, but imagine, okay, let's say you get a solid 20 years on the force and you're just a roided out cop just setting records. Yeah. And then as soon as you're done, you retire, you get off the job, you get off the roids, and you just ride off into the sunset with still a pretty good body, some sexy criminal takedowns, and you get the fat police pension. So like you're not on it forever, just,
I mean, yeah.
And you get blood tests in the force as well. So they're keeping track just to make sure that all the cops aren't dying.
Honestly, this sounds like a pilot program that's about to happen here in New York City at any point in time with Mayor Eric Adams.
RoboCop come to life.
Yeah, and I'm also seeing here that Mr. Schwarzenegger himself urges bodybuilders to avoid steroids.
Yeah, but
so that's basically the steroid Jesus.
But that's like
that said that.
That's like Pablo Escobar telling people not to do cocaine. It's like he's already benefited from the drug.
It's like too late. It's like you're already the face of the brand.
Yeah, it's a different question. Would you advise other people to take steroids? And if you asked Arnold Schwarzenegger if you had to do it all over again, would you touch a steroid? There's no way he'd say no, I don't wish I was the 7-time Mr. Olympia and the star of Terminator and all the shit that comes along with a body like that.
Yeah, he does say, I recognize the fact that who am I to say this?
Yeah.
So that's valid, Arnold. But he's just concerned in the same way that I am, in the sense that, yeah, these days people don't, I mean, yeah, there's just less regulation. I think steroids are easier to get their hands on. And that's why we need the police, I guess, to have all the steroids pumped into themselves to keep these roids out of the hands of inexperienced people like myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to get kidney damage one day. And I like having a woman's voice and no mustache.
Yeah.
So it's better I stay like this.
Should we start giving steroids to the police canines too? Like have the jacked police officers and then the dogs next to them just have fucking no neck also, and their shoulders are just ripped to shits. That's a scary image if you're a criminal.
At that point, they could actually have any animal they'd like. If they want a cat, they can just roid up the cat.
A gorilla, an actual gorilla on a leash.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yeah.
Speaking of animals, I do have kind of a random. It's not really a story, but it's something that I saw recently. Have you seen these videos of this brown bear at the Seattle Zoo that ate like a family of ducks in its enclosure?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So yesterday I'm like, what am I going to talk about on the podcast? Like, I have another story that's all set, but I'm like, what else can I talk about? Nothing was really striking me. I guess I felt like nothing was entertaining to me yesterday. But I kept seeing this video come up on my feed, and I'm like, surely it's not that funny. Like, I've seen so many of these videos of an animal at the zoo, and it's just whatever, Finally, I cracked and I watched this video, and it's a 2-minute video that somehow gets worse and worse as each second passes. Okay. So it's a bear, a brown bear, grizzly bear in its enclosure at the Seattle Zoo. And at the zoo, you can kind of walk up and there's the glass or the plexiglass, whatever it is, where there's water. So you can kind of see under the water and on top of it. So in the video, it's literally, and I'll send you the link just so you can kind of watch some of it. And I encourage our listeners to watch it too, because it's really pretty funny. Where's our chat? Let's see. Let's put it in the chat. I want to open up the chat for people. I want people to be able to tune in and speak to us.
All right.
As we're going. All right. I just sent it, but it's glitching a little bit.
So I'm bringing it up.
So it's a 2-minute video. Yeah, please
Should I play it now or?
I mean, it's kind of long.
Okay, I'll just get the.
So that's up to you.
Just give me the highlights, and then I can sort of keep it going for myself.
Yeah, well, sure. So there's a mother duck and 6 little baby ducks. And I don't know how the hell they got into the enclosure or why they thought that a bear enclosure would be the safest place for their little duck family to be.
Yeah.
But the ducks are in the water, and this bear is getting very excited looking at the ducks. And all the people are at the glass, and they're kind of watching. They're like, oh, no, please, no, bear. Mind you, somehow the only people there looking at this bear and the ducks are fucking toddlers and their parents. I saw no regular child, only toddlers, impressionable children.
Yeah.
So then the bear jumps in the water, swims right for the ducks, and just swipes up these baby ducks. And it's not a slow kill. It's the bear is eating popcorn in front of these kids. The way it just picks up one baby duck, rips its head off
Yeah.
and eats it.
It's
Kind of
watching
swims
you.
around, swats at another one.
Yeah, it's watching Euphoria. It's just like chilling, watching Netflix with some ducks.
Yeah, I mean, he ate these ducklings in front of all of these children the way that I eat hot wings after a long week of work, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, just fucking went in, devoured them one by one, enjoyed, stripped to the bone. I mean, enjoyed every last bit of these ducks. All while parents are like screaming. They're like, Juniper, no. Juniper is the name of the bear. So it's an Henri young woman bear. And yeah, they're just screaming at the bear like it's their pet cat. They're like, Juniper, stop
it.
bad Juniper.
Bear.
And the children, they're all these little kids are like, that's not nice. No. Uh-oh, he's eating them. No. But I just thought it was so funny. It was just a very funny video, something that I did not think would be that funny. Actually made me laugh out loud while watching it, because I've never seen a bear just like pluck little baby ducks and just eat them one by one. Yeah. It's hard. You don't really get a front row seat to that very often.
It's hilarious, the dichotomy between what the bear is feeling and what the parents are feeling. Like, the parents are screaming at the bear, what are you doing? Oh my God. Oh my. And the bear's just like, I'm just a bear doing
the
bear
bear's
things.
having the time of his life.
I'm just doing what a bear does.
Yeah.
I'm eating food. What do you want? Why are you yelling?
Yeah.
Keep your voice down.
I did feel happy for the bear in that way, where it was like, oh, it probably doesn't get like live things to kill very often in the zoo.
Or it's being thrown.
And now here these ducks are, and it's just like, hell yeah, like it's skills. I mean, this bear could be released to the wild today. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah. And it's being thrown dead animals to eat. So it's like, it's probably confusing for the bear, where some animals, it's picking up a fucking dead otter or I don't know what they feed bear. Fish, I guess salmon, and it's just
that's a good
dead
salmon.
It's just munching on that, and then all of a sudden it picks up a different thing in the water, and everyone's like, no, don't do that. And the bear's like, they're both
like,
the same
do
to
it
me.
More.
Yeah.
But the look on the bear's face was like, again? Do it again? And then it just kind of swims. And at one point it gets even closer to the glass. Like, it's up there basically, like, here, you want to see it even closer, and brings a duckling closer and eats it like inches away from these children's face.
Yeah. It's doing it like an ASMR against the glass. It's just like, yeah, you fucking like that?
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat these ducks in your face. Yeah. Who's got the
and
shore
none of the parents moved either. They're just yelling, like none of the parents moved. That is something that I actually loved the most, because it felt like our generation parenting, where we're like, oh no, presses the record button and tries not to laugh too hard.
Yeah, every single parent. It's just like when you see at a concert, and it's like 1970s versus 2024, and 1970s just like everyone having fun, and then 2024 it's just a sea of camera phones. It's like that with parenting. It's like parents yelling and spanking their kids back in the day in the 70s, or like they're trying to actually thwart the danger. And then 2024, it's like, no, Timmy, no, wait, move a little bit to the left. Oh wait, there it is. No.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I think these kids, though, learned a valuable lesson. They learned the circle of life before they even learned how to tie their shoes.
They did.
So it'll be curious. It would be interesting to me, not that we'll ever know, but 10 years from now, do these kids remember this happening?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they will. Or they'll be like, I had a bad dream once.
Yeah. No, there's going to be one of these kids. How old are they? Like 7 or 8, something like that?
They were even younger than that, Zach. They were like 2,
oh, Jesus.
4. Like, these were like little kids.
This is the sweet spot of traumatic experience that will be buried and come out on a date when they're 33 years old. Like the waiter will ask one of these kids. He'll just be with his girlfriend on a date, and he'll be like, "Would you like the duck tonight, sir? The duck confit?" And he's like, "Duck, what?" And the girlfriend's like, "Are you okay?" He's like,
No.
"Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom." He said, he calls mom. He's like, "Did something happen to me when I was a kid? Because I just had a panic attack when the waiter offered me duck."
Or they're gonna be in there's these therapies, or like a hypnotic therapy, where just this memory gets basically resurrected within them. They don't understand their trauma, and then all of a sudden they're like,
"Yeah,
I remember."
But
honestly, it is a circle of life. So I mean, I guess it's not that traumatizing, right?
One of the boys grows up to be a gay adult male, and there's another guy in front of him going like, "Oh yeah, fuck me, you big bear," and he's like, "Oh, big bear, oh no." The guy's like, "What? Why are you freaking out? I just called you a big bear," and he's like, "I know, I don't know. I wish I could tell you why I'm freaking out, but I just have a wave of anxiety." Yeah. Mom?
Yeah.
Did something happen?
I guess they have video footage of this, so, they'll have the answers when they're ready to find them later in life.
That's such a... if you're going on this is what scares me about psychedelics, is like, I think I remember most things that, like, if there was a big event that happened to me from like 7 years old or later, I'm pretty sure I remember at least part of it. But then there's another part of me that goes like, you don't want to take 5 grams of mushrooms because there could be something that you're not, like, you completely suppressed. Like, you did a good job. Like,
I fear that as well, Zach. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that, because I don't feel like I remember a lot of my childhood. I don't think I had the best childhood, and I remember reasons why, but like nothing crazy like happened to me. All in all, it was fine. Like, no major event that I would remember, but I think of myself and I'm like, well, I have my fair share of like mental illness issues, and like just things that you're like, well, maybe there's reasoning behind why I don't like this or whatever. And I'm constantly wondering, like, are there these suppressed memories? Like, if I got hypnotized, would I like remember something terrible that happened to me?
I think the same thing. And we also live in such a trauma porn society where everyone's like, go to the Amazon and do a shit ton of ayahuasca and just like dig up all the dark secrets of yourself. And it's like something should be buried. Like, if they've stayed buried for 28 years, why not just keep them buried?
If they buried themselves and I didn't even have to try, then they probably should remain buried. But that is one thing. Like, I've not done any psychedelics, and that's kind of one thing that I think of if I were to try any, was like, because some people say like, oh, try mushrooms and like your whole life will be changed, like for the better usually. So I am curious, but I am a pretty anxious person, so I'm always just worried about like, but what if this happens instead?
And it's like, if you do something like a psychedelic trip or an ayahuasca trip, I feel like a lot of people talk about seeing visions of certain animals anyway. So you're pretty much guaranteed to have some animal pop up. And one of those is probably for you going to be a bear and ducks. And the shaman's just going to be like, okay, it's okay. It happens to everyone. He's just rubbing your back as you're throwing up into a bucket, and you're like, no, you don't understand. This actually happened. It's all coming back.
What is the one? Is it peyote or ayahuasca that you like shit your pants? That most people literally shit themselves.
I know that ayahuasca comes with an expected purge, so a lot of people will purge. Throw up usually. Some people might shit their pants.
Is that Chelsea? Because I'm a big fan of Chelsea Handler. Chelsea does. Is it ayahuasca? Yes. So she went somewhere, like to some in Peru, and this was years ago, and she did ayahuasca, and all her friends that went there with her, they like, a group of them like tried it, and all of them are like crying, shitting, throwing up. And Chelsea has been doing drugs since she was like 10, and she's just sitting there like, I don't feel anything. She's like, and literally had like no experience.
She's like, get your shit together, you fucking pussies. You pussies and your trauma.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see though, that because she was really curious, but it was funny to see like they're kind of sitting in like a circle, and like her friends are just going down like one after the other with like my stomach, or like they start crying, and she's just there like looking around like, what? Why? I'm getting nothing.
It's also funny to hear the way that people describe ayahuasca experiences, and they're like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. I met Mother Nature, and she's so kind, and she put a warm blanket over me." Oh. And then you look up on YouTube, man has ayahuasca trip in the Amazon, and it's just him shitting his pants and throwing up into a bucket. You're like, this is what it's like to meet Mother Nature. You just shitting into a bucket.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think I can just watch a sunset. That's good enough.
Yeah.
I feel like that's seriously more of a handshake with Mother Nature than diarrhea in the Amazon.
They're both very close to Mother Nature, but one is definitely a more sanitary experience.
I want to be able to have a drink with Mother Nature, like, drinking a San Pellegrino and just going, cheers to the sunset, cheers to this waterfall. If I'm battling demonic bears that are ripping the heads off of ducks, it's going to be harder to do that. The bears is going to be cheersing you with a headless duck. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you want one? It just starts pawing it closer to you.
Yeah, the bear was just trying to share the whole time. He's just ripping the heads off of ducks, being like, oh, there's like 5 other kids here. Why am I being so selfish? Does anyone else? Yeah.
So rude.
Yeah.
My mother
he's
raised
trying to pass
me, right?
around the ducks while the parents are yelling at him, and he's like, I thought sharing was caring. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, it was funny. The ducks were very cute, but stood no chance against the bear. And you can't really blame the bear. Seemed like the bear was just doing its bear thing.
Well, the bear, sounds like it has a solid relationship with itself. At least it knows who it knows who he is or she is.
What it likes to eat. It knows what its gut microbiome is desiring, which were baby ducks.
100%. We're gonna see this bear just sitting down on the next Netflix documentary, being like, yeah, no, the ducks actually shifted my microbiome for the better. The screaming children didn't help, but I do feel more aligned biologically because of that experience.
Yeah. Super healthy.
So speaking of relationships with yourself, or just relationships in general, we thought it could be fun to go through a Reddit post, because, and I'm just going to say this, I know there are podcasts that go through Reddit posts, and I'd always seen clips of them on TikTok, and I've thought, like, that seems kind of corny, or like everyone does this.
I'm glad you're saying this too. Because I think that's why we haven't done them, because we don't want to copy. Like, listen, I'm just saying, you might think some of our bits are dumb. We might say stupid stuff, but we're trying to be original.
So there,
and not just read shit off the 100%. Computer.
And so we're some of these clips were literally just that, like the host reading the Reddit post with no takes. So we're going to give our takes for sure. And I finally listened to one of these podcasts where they were going through a Reddit post, and it seemed pretty fun. The hosts were having a good time. So I was like, whatever, we'll just make it our own. We'll try it at least once, see how it goes. So this is from a subreddit called Am I the Asshole, AITA for short, that a lot of you are probably familiar with. And this post is, am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that my ex-wife was tighter? So
okay, you're gonna need so based on the headline,
yes,
because you always, when you read these stories on Reddit, you always have an initial reaction to the headline, and so my reaction to that headline is like, oof, not good.
Not good.
You're sounding like the asshole.
I had the same premonition.
There's a lot of details that I'm eager to find out.
So am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that my ex-wife was tighter? I, male 39, hate it when people make fun of others. I mean, I know that people can gossip. That's a funny way to start this post. Yeah.
I've never teased somebody about having a
never
loose
teased
vagina.
someone. By the way, the bitch I used to date, her pussy was way tighter than yours. I hate it when people make fun of others. I mean, I know that people can gossip and talk amongst friends and other people, and I'm guilty of that too, but I got very upset when my girlfriend, female 32, started talking about my ex-wife, female 42. So it's a guy, 39 years old, writing this post,
Gotcha.
Girlfriend 32, ex-wife 42. I understand that disliking an ex isn't abnormal or anything, but my girlfriend is obsessed with my ex-wife, and I always try to make bad remarks, and she always tries to make bad remarks about her. When it is just to me, I don't care because, again, people gossip and talk shit about others in the privacy of their own homes. But this time, it was at a restaurant with some of her girlfriends and spouses. Somehow, the discussion became about my ex-wife's vagina. Yeah, don't ask me how, but they were discussing childbirth and bodily changes, age, etc., and my ex got dragged. My girlfriend was a bit drunk and she was talking loudly. I hated it and asked her to stop talking. In parentheses, when I get upset, she doubles down because she starts thinking, why do you care? Why don't you want me to talk shit about your ex? She has told me this before. Now she was talking about how my ex-wife must have a huge one. We have two children together, girl 4, boy 2. The girl...
With the ex-wife or the current
he and
partner?
The ex-wife, it sounds like, have the 2 children together, and now he's dating this new chick. The girls started laughing, and the girls, the new girlfriend's friends, started laughing and saying, "Ew." I yelled at them to stop, but they ignored me. Then my girlfriend told me, "Why are you so agitated? Did we hit a nerve?" I said, "Actually, no. My ex-wife was the tightest woman I ever had." I don't know. I don't know how she managed it, but she's very tight. I love how he added that in. Like, not only is she the tightest woman I've ever had, but I don't know how she was doing it.
You were like, he was like, I actually tried to
It was a
understand.
magic trick. I took a night class on tight pussy, and I still couldn't understand. I had the credits. They became silent, and my girlfriend started crying. And then the women started yelling at me, and their spouses were between amused and scared. And then one of the spouses said, "Yeah, I don't think childbirth really affects this. I haven't noticed the difference with women I've dated." I felt gratitude, but I was still being yelled at, and my girlfriend has not called or answered me since Saturday. And I think this was 3 or 4 days before that, so it's been a few days. I'm so tired. End post.
I have a verdict. I definitely have my own opinion.
Yeah, I'm just like, before I even got to what I think, because I'm still not exactly sure what I think about it, but it's like, I'm imagining the boyfriend, like all the girls are making fun of his ex-wife and saying, she's got a big ass pussy, that pussy gaping.
My thing is, like, are we at a high school cafeteria? Like, why is that? That seems so bizarre to have that be the conversation while you guys are all out.
It sounds like just a massive, couples dinner, 8 girls, 8 spouses, and all the
that's so
the girls
so
ordered
strange.
Margarita buckets, and they're just getting fucking lubed up. And
but
your ex-wife pussy's gaping. Like her pussy must have been so big, and then this guy just like bangs the table and stands up. He's like, "My ex-wife was the tightest I ever had. You bitch! You shut your mouth when you talk about my ex-wife's pussy." And the restaurant just goes silent.
Yeah. Well, I say he is not the asshole.
Too. I agree
in this, and. A matter of fact, I think his girlfriend is the asshole.
I was going to say, yeah.
Because first of all, if that's who she's talking about is the mother of his children.
Yes.
So he obviously has a connection with this other woman just based on that level, like based on basic respect for another person of like, this woman I shared time with, a relationship with, and we shared children together. So I respect her on that level. You don't need to like her, love her, find her attractive, any of that. You don't, my next girlfriend doesn't need to like love to hang out with her, none of that. But like, if I'm a single parent and I am dating and I have kids and I do have a relationship with like the other parent of my children, it is something that I would really look for in a partner, would be that they are respectful to the mother of my children. Yeah. So I don't find it very respectful to be like, she's obviously jealous of something, right? Like she's got to be super jealous to like constantly, seems like he said like she's constantly talking about her and like bringing her up and just like all these little digs. It's like, you must be super jealous of her.
And you know, in the girlfriend's head when they were having arguments before, she wouldn't say it out loud, but in her head she's like, yeah, I bet your ex-wife's pussy's fucking gaping, and she's like, I'm gonna get sloshed on margaritas and say this at brunch one day.
It's definitely coming from like insecurity and jealousy. But also another thing that you mentioned that's like a super turnoff for me personally, and another reason I think the girlfriend's an asshole, is you said and he said in the post that she doubles down on things that he brings up that bothers him. That is such an immature, ugly behavior. Like when you're in a relationship, if your partner is like, please, like these things bother me, you don't double down on them and get even. And I clearly they probably were tipsy, but it seems like this stuff happens. From what he wrote was like, okay, yeah, we were out drinking, having fun, so this might have gotten carried away, but seems like she typically doubles down on things that he isn't down
it's
with.
Like if you told your girlfriend, hey, it bothers me when you eat a yogurt and then you put it back and it goes bad. And then she's like, okay, like I hear you're saying. And then you come home the next day and there's just like 14 spoiled yogurts in the fridge with a note that says, fuck you, bitch. You're like, what? Why are you?
That's not exactly gonna.
It's not gonna inspire your partner to want to be reciprocating as well. Yeah. If you, like you said, if you feel the need to drag the vagina of the mother of your boyfriend's children, you are an insecure cunt.
Yeah. The only reason I would say unless is like, unless she knew for a fact that baby mama does just like run around town and like, but we don't have any of these details. He didn't offer any of these details. I'm saying like, unless she's like texting him in a more flirtatious manner, or she's just hoeing around and just kind of a general, you know, not great person, I don't understand why you would say anything about her vagina.
I was gonna say the only thing that would justify this outburst from the girlfriend would be if she found recent correspondence between the boyfriend and the ex-wife that was more than just like, you have the kids this weekend, like, you know, something about meeting up in a hotel, or, you know, talking about cheating, the possibility of that. Then I could see like, you know, she's been fuming, she's had evidence for weeks, possibly months, and then this, you know, she doesn't know the size of his ex-wife's vagina, obviously, but it just came out as that. So unless something like that happened with infidelity, if it's just like the normal bumps and bruises of being in a relationship with someone who has kids, and your response to that is getting fucked up with your friends, and by the way, also in front of this other guy's friends, because I'm assuming he's also friends with the husbands and the spouses. So it's like it's not just like girls be girls and we're gonna talk shit, and you know, like it's just the one guy sitting there. It's his friends too, so you're embarrassing the shit out of him, you're belittling him.
How old did you say she was again? 30 something?
The girlfriend is 32, wife is 42,
32,
guy's 39.
Girl, you gotta stop. Like, you are way too old. That's why I was saying, like, that type of conversation sounds like something that happened. Like, I overheard that in high school. Like everybody was like, oh, you have a loose vagina, like in high school, which is like also hilarious because most everyone in high school is a virgin.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But like that's the type of insults that you would hear in high school cafeteria.
Yeah.
So I love that you raised your hand. Yeah. Me too.
I just wanted
me
to clarify.
Too, dude.
I was a virgin.
Yeah. We were saints in high school, but actually, we just
not by
couldn't.
choice.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, there's too much pussy. Let me just beat it away from me.
Yeah, you weren't like, ugh, all this loose vagina around me.
I'm like, Mom,
Disgusting.
I was gonna make it home because I was drowning in pussy.
Yeah. So she definitely needs a reality check. If I was him, I would dump her. Dump her.
I would say this is. I think this might be the reality check, this interaction of the outburst of the guy. And I'm just imagining the situation. Like he bangs his fist on the table and he stands up during lunch or during the dinner. And he's like, my ex-wife's pussy is the tightest I've ever had. And that's including you, bitch.
Yeah.
Like that is the wake up call that she needed to say like, hey, you're not 26 anymore. This isn't cute.
Yeah.
You're in sad territory. Like your 30s when this type of shit happens, like this is now sad as fuck. Like you're not a cute drunk puppy dog anymore. You're just a sad, sloshed, probably single
You're
woman.
embarrassing with no confidence. And also it's funny because these type of situations often, like I can just foresee the future, right? Where he dumps the girlfriend because she's an immature little bitch. But then a lot of times, like in these situations, I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but like if he got back with the baby mama, the girlfriend would be like, I knew it all along, when really it's just like, no, you just suck. You suck so bad that I wanted to go back to my ex-wife.
And the guy's like, your pussy wasn't even that loose. It was close to my ex-wife. It still wasn't as tight as hers, but like, you are a bitch. So that's why I was saying that.
I love that. I love that he said that.
Yeah, me
I
too.
mean, it's like, he's not the asshole because she deserved it, but it was like the perfect comeback because I can almost feel how that just punched her right in the gut. Thinking that like her vagina, like he straight up said like essentially sex was better with my ex than it is with 100%. You.
I mean,
and that's hard to come back from.
You have to break up after that. Could you imagine being in a relationship with someone who ended an argument with, by the way, also my ex's pussy was tighter, and they just walked out of the room? Like you can't date someone after that.
Yeah. I'm not sure how you come back from that. I think all of their friends just witnessed the end of that relationship. Imagine being the friend too, though. Not the girlfriends, because they seemed like they were joining in on this mean girl activity. But I just imagine being one of the like boyfriends there, just trying to enjoy my bucket of beer. And this shit's going on. And I just now witnessed the end of my friend's relationship in the most insane fashion possible.
It's also a perfect segue for this guy to get back with his ex-wife if she's also not dating anyone.
Exactly.
Because next time he drops off the kids, she's gonna be like, "Oh, like what happened? You seem a little bit upset." And he's like,
exactly.
Yeah, Chelsea. I got an argument with Chelsea, and like I said some shit about her, and then we ended up breaking up. And the ex-wife is like, "What'd you say?" And the guy's like, I told her you had a tighter pussy. And she's like, oh yeah, did you?
Exactly.
Did you? Because
she's gonna be like, wow. She's probably hair flip as she walks back into the house.
Maybe it's
she's feeling herself the rest of the day.
Maybe it's even tighter than you remember. Hair flip. Let's go see.
Yeah. I love this Reddit thread. It's such a good thread.
Yeah. I was trying to think like what a potential comeback for, or like a follow-up for this guy, what it could be after you say, by the way, my ex-wife's pussy was tighter, if you wanted a follow-up, because you definitely could mic drop and walk out of the restaurant. But it sounds like the girls started ganging up on him because it got silent, and then people were like arguing. So
well, it's sister code, it's girl code. The girls felt like they had
I get it. It's the same thing. If guys get into it, you gotta back up your bro in a fight. But a potential comeback follow up could be, well, if you moved your pussy lips half as much as you moved your mouth ones, maybe we wouldn't be having this argument. Your vagina is not tight.
I like
is what
that.
I'm saying.
I love that.
Yeah. That
was good, Zach. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that one in the bank. Oh, you got company.
Yeah. Hang on a second. We'll pause.
I really hope Sam doesn't get murdered right now, because I would be sad, but I also and concerned, but I wouldn't be able to do anything. I was saying I was like, I really hope Sam doesn't get murdered right now, because I would be so excited, like so like excitable.
You wouldn't even really hear it,
but actually, like I wouldn't be able to.
This microphone is so good, Zach, that you don't. I mean, you heard the door ring, but I don't know if you'd hear my screams.
Yeah, that's an ad for Shure microphones. It's like, if your co-host gets murdered, you won't even be able to hear it if it's not directly in front of the microphone. Shure M7s.
Yeah. Just the FedEx man coming to deliver me a package for my upstairs neighbors. Sorry for the interruption.
But I was like, if you saw me get murdered, it would be so upsetting, but you also wouldn't be able to do anything, because I'm in Panama. Obviously, you can't, like, calling the Panamanian police. They're not going to be able to really do anything in that moment. Yeah. So it's like, it's real.
No, I mean, Zach, you'd just be dead. There'd be nothing I could do. My death. I think I would watch.
Yo, you have to live comment.
I would just sit here, because it kind of feels like, because we're on, like, virtually, it does kind of feel like it's not real, even though it is. So, yeah, if somebody came in and just, like, murder, I would just watch, because it just feels like TV, basically. And then, I'd be traumatized like those little kids at the zoo, and probably bury it and need hypnotherapy to uncover why I can't take Zoom calls anymore.
You're staying in it. You're doing your job as a co-host and live commenting my murder. And then as soon as it's over, then that's when you close out, and then you're just like, Jesus Christ, what did I want? But, like, you stay true to form for the views. Yeah. You're just like,
it's like a muscle. You just the muscle's it just keeps going. Yeah,
you're like, speaking of tight vaginas, that was a tight shot to the sternum right there. Zach is on the floor. He is screaming.
Oh, that was a bloody one.
He's not coming up from that. We'll see you next time, folks. But
I'm on the am I the asshole thread. Now you're gonna get me into a wormhole of, like, reading so many.
I mean, this was fun. I genuinely enjoyed going through that thread. If we ended episodes with one of us picking a thread to go through, I would not be against that at all.
It needs to be a surprise to the other person.
I think that was good, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what do we want to do from here? Do we want to wrap it, or do we want another thing?
We could wrap it. I say we could end on the high note, going out with the tight pussy. Okay. We're at an hour 9 minutes almost, so
no, I mean, I think that's fine. Yeah, cool. No, that works for me.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning into the podcast. We went everywhere, from bears ripping the heads off ducks to roided out cops to tight ass pussies to just you guys being along for the ride with us. And we really appreciate you being willing to hop on board no matter where this mentally ill train goes. And
it is mentally ill.
Really means the world to us. And we suspect some of you are also mentally ill, which makes this relationship work out.
Oh,
yeah.
Most. And by most, I mean
that makes me kind of scared if we got to the point to getting to a live show, because I'm like, I don't want too many people there like us, because that would be a shit show. I hope some people are sane.
I think it would be a good time, Zach.
Yes,
what are you talking about?
You're right. Fucking blow this shit up. We'll get to a live show. It'll just be a bunch of sick people packed into an auditorium doing a live podcast.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know, ripping fucking heads off animals, and we'll rate your pussies and dicks, because this is equal opportunity stuff. We'll be like, yeah, that's a tight one. That one's a little small.
Yeah. Testicles a little small. Too many. Less roids. Less roids.
I'll do a live Winstrol injection on the podcast. Do a before and after.
But that'll be great. I can't wait till those dreams come true. So
thank you guys. If you want to expedite those dreams, you can rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because that is really the best way for us to get visibility, is more ratings, more comments, because when people search things like bear rips head off duck or boyfriend pussy Reddit argument, our episode will pop up above the other ones. We'll be higher in the search rankings, which means people will find us. Because, like, let's be real, when you're on Spotify and you type in something, you're not going past like the 7th option, like the 7th search. You're just seeing what pops up at the top. So help us pop the top and rate us anywhere.
And other things.
Pop the top, like the bear popped the top off those ducks' heads.
Yeah. Exactly. Please subscribe, like, rate, review, tell a friend.
Yes.
We'll
and
appreciate
go to
it.
breakingtakes.supercast.com for bonus episodes. I think we have 7 up there now. Once a month, we'll throw up a bonus episode there. And you can also recommend topics and stories for us to talk about on the public episodes, but also the bonus episodes too.
Send us Reddit.
Send it to Instagram, DM, email. You can send emails to zach@auxoro.com, or you can send a DM to @breakingtakes or @auxoro. We will see it. Comment also on Instagram, TikTok. I'll see your recommendations too. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Look forward to next week. Peace.